A remote fishing village in Nigeria. A group of men prepared for another day at sea. It was supposed to be a normal journey. Just like every other day, the sun was rising. Waves danced calmly, and no one knew this day would turn into a nightmare. A large tugboat named Jascon 4 was carrying workers and supplies. Among them was a quiet, humble cook named Harrison. He had dreams, simple dreams, earn enough to support his family, return home safely after work. Nothing more, but fate had different plans. Hours passed at sea. Dark clouds gathered. Winds grew stronger. The ocean changed its mood. Before anyone could react, a giant wave slammed the boat. Metal cracked. People screamed. Water rushed in from every direction. Within minutes, the entire ship flipped upside down and sank deep into the ocean. The world turned silent. Cold water swallowed everything. Darkness surrounded them. Most of the crew never stood a chance. But Harrison was trapped in a small cabin in the lower section of the ship. He struggled to breathe. Salt water filled the air. Furniture floated around him. And he realized he was at the bottom of the sea. He panicked. He shouted for help. But there was no reply. Only silence and darkness. Time passed slowly. Minutes turned into hours. Hours felt like days. The temperature dropped. His body shivered. His teeth rattled. He tried to stay above the water. He found a small air pocket just big enough to keep his head out, just enough to breathe. He held on to anything floating, a toolbox, a broken panel, anything to keep him alive. His mind flashed with memories, his mother's voice, his family's laughter, the promise he made to return home. But now, that promise felt impossible. At one moment, he tried to open the door and escape. But the water pressure outside was too strong. That door was his prison. Hours later, his hopes began to fade. He whispered to himself, "Please God, don't let me die here." He prayed, he cried, he begged. Loneliness is the worst kind of darkness, and he was surrounded by it. Meanwhile, above the surface, rescue teams arrived. They found the location of the sunken ship, but they believed everyone was dead. No one could survive such a disaster, 200 feet under the ocean. So the divers were not searching for survivors. They were collecting dead bodies, deep under the water. Harrison heard distant sounds, metal hitting metal, something moving. Someone was out there. His heart pounded. He banged the wall with anything he could find. Once, twice, again, and again. He kept hitting. even though he wasn't sure anyone could hear him. His strength started to fade. The air pocket was getting smaller. His breathing became painful. He thought, "This is the end." He closed his eyes, ready to give up. But then a light appeared. A diver, a real human, searching the wreckage. The diver moved slowly, looking for bodies. He didn't expect anyone to be alive. Then suddenly, a hand reached out from the dark. Harrison's hand. The diver jumped back in shock. This couldn't be real. Someone alive. After so long, he immediately signaled the team. The operation changed. This wasn't a recovery anymore. This was a rescue. But there was a problem. Harrison had been underwater for 3 days. If he was pulled up too quickly, the pressure could kill him instantly. His lungs could collapse. His body could explode internally. So the rescuers had to move slowly. Very slowly. Harrison was given oxygen. He was wrapped in a diving suit underwater. He was calm. He was told he would live. Tears rolled down his face. His prayers were answered. He wasn't alone anymore. The diver held him close, guiding him through the broken corridors, out of the dead tomb, towards life when they reached the surface. Everyone watching the monitors burst into tears. They had seen miracles before, but nothing like this. Harrison was rushed to the hospital. Doctors were shocked. How could a man survive 3 days underwater with no food, no clean air, and no sunlight? Science couldn't fully explain it. Some called it luck. Some called it a miracle. Some called it God's answer to a mother's prayer. When Harrison called his family, they couldn't believe their ears. They had already cried for his funeral. And now, he was alive. He returned home months later. He hugged his family tight. He touched the ground of his village. He looked at the sky, and he thanked God for giving him a second life. Harrison says, even in the darkest place, when you think everything is over, never lose hope. Because hope is the only light that can survive in the deepest darkness. If you want more amazing true stories, don't forget to subscribe, because this is CineVibe TV.